Welcome back. Well, Foxtel 7 and Telstra have signed a huge $2 billion broadcasting agreement with the AFL this week. The deal will run for 6 seasons and is 2/3 bigger than the previous agreement. News Corp Executive Chairman Rupert Murdoch, one of the key stakeholders in the historic deal, says AFL is the national game and his company is doing everything to make it stronger.
This is a very significant investment for us. We've always believed that this is the premium code in Australia. It's the national game, and we're putting our money where we believed, but we're also committing all our platforms to support the AFL everywhere, in every state. So we're very happy to be doing this. We believe in the strength of the game, and we do everything we can to make it stronger.
Well, James, that was just 8 days after the NRL, of course, signed that big TV content deal with Nine. So what do you make of this AFL one? Huge.
Yeah, look, there's so many angles to this story, isn't there? It's incredible. But, yeah, I think we've seen two sort of masterclasses in rights negotiation, if you like. You know, David Ginchel came in and managed to talk the NRL into sort of grabbing his money with what they thought was a great offer and running with that. And then, you know, Rupert Murdoch and Robert Thompson came in and then showed how you can push through a negotiation with the AFL, and, you know, which was, I think, was just meandering along, you know, reasonably slowly without any sort of sense of urgency. But, you know, Rupert and his team came into town. They really, you know, got a push on and got this all done. I think they talked about 10 days the deal was virtually done, and if you trace that,
really short negotiation.
Yeah, you trace that back, that was about the day they arrived in the country, and then they managed to sort it out. But by the day I think they left 1 day late to make sure it was all closed off. So yeah, fantastic stuff. Look, and the leaves the NRL in a little bit of a bind now. They've still got to close their subscription TV deal. You know, Fox Sports could be playing hard to get. You know, they can just afford to wait now. There's still a little while before the current deal expires, so there's no need for them to rush into it. But I think come the end of the day, they both parties can benefit out of this. You know,
Is there a bit of tension now, though, between News Corp and NRL?
Oh, for sure. Yeah, definitely. You just get that as a sense looking through their content. You know, they're just not very happy. But at the end of the day, the News Corp readers love the NRL. The NRL loves being on Fox Sports, so, you know, I'm sure there'll be a deal for them at the end of the day.
All right, we talked Seven West results with Evan a little earlier, but they also had a big announcement about live streaming. Is this a big game changer?
Oh, look, absolutely. It's massive, and it's triggered a whole lot of things, you know, like the regional markets are wondering, gee whiz, what happens to us now if people start streaming Seven?
And what does happen to them now?
Well, exactly, you know, they need to be talking to Seven, I guess, about, look, how are we going, if suddenly there's a big audience watching through your Yahoo 7 app, what happens to all our advertisers? You know, they need to so they've got to focus on that. Rights, sports rights, content rights. Seven have been buying the streaming rights for most shows, but there'll still be the odd thing that they won't have the rights to. And if you're Telstra and you've paid a lot of money for these AFL rights, you're thinking, oh, hello, is Seven going to be streaming the football? Fox Footy Channel will be streaming the football as well. What are we left with, you know? So that's a whole new light of what happens there.
Also want to talk Nine, because they report obviously next week, but in the meantime they've confirmed the sale of those Willoughby headquarters, which we knew was coming.
Sure, yeah, absolutely.
Where are they going from there?
We don't know yet. Look, they nearly moved out a few years ago. It looked like they might have been going to relocate at Fox Studios, but so they haven't had a real need to reopen that again. They'll be looking now. Nine in Melbourne, they moved from their Richmond facility there. They moved into, I think they've got a couple of floors in an office building, so they don't need as much space as they used to, of course, in the old days. So it'd be interesting to see where they go. Do they want somewhere that would be a nice backdrop for some of their shows, the News or the Today Show, much the same as Seven's done at Martin Place? You know, that all comes into it.
Now, we're talking a lot about streaming video on demand, of course, as always, and one of Australians' streaming businesses is actually calling it quits. EasyFlix has closed, and this comes as Presto also commissions its first local content. Yeah, look, a couple of the minor players there. We always talk about QuickFlix. EasyFlix was another one of them, you know, really off the radar a little bit for a lot of people, and even further off it after the big players certainly snapped up some of the territory there. Presto commissioned a Home and Away. They're calling it a special event, tele-movie, whatever you like. It's pretty smart. It's just very core. It's a specific demo. 800,000 people in metro markets, probably over 1 million Australia-wide watch Home and Away every day. They're certainly going to want to see this special event. So, you know, it's quite clever marketing, I guess. Speaking of streaming, we actually heard from Foxtel CEO Richard Freudenstein this week. He spoke at the Australia-Israel Chamber of Commerce and Industry lunch, and his speech was titled Business Transformation, Innovation motivating for the future of media. Let's take a listen at some of what he had to say.
Netflix produces a growing number of its own quality shows, which it can afford to do based on its scale in the US. It will never be able to acquire the range of first-run content that Foxtel can and does. It's simply a matter of economics. At $15 per month, there is a limited amount of programming that any SVOD service can buy.
So a lot of commentary there around streaming, obviously, as expected from Foxtel. What do you make of some of those comments?
Yeah, look, it's just, yeah, he's right. You know, they're never going to be able to have specific Australian content that can match what Foxtel's doing, but it's that you know, it's House of Cards. You know, a lot of people never took any notice of Netflix until they had House of Cards, and all of a sudden it's all over the place. So you really need that hit program that can just turn the whole thing right around.
All right, I want to turn to radio now because there's some big news, because after 28 years at Southern Cross Austereo, Group Content Director Craig Bruce has departed.
Yeah, look, it's we were expecting a big move in content. I think we talked about that. You know, Andrew Ringham left, the sales head down there, after Brian Gallagher came in. So we thought, look, the board or the shareholders are going to want to see some change on the content side of the business too. So Craig Bruce is gone. He used to be a regular on the show. He used to come in and talk about the radio ratings. So he won't be doing that for the time being unless he crops up somewhere else. So I'm sure he's still got a lot to offer the industry. So it'd be a good pickup for somebody. Adam Williscroft's still on the payroll down there. I think it's Southern Cross Austereo. He's someone that might step up. So we'll see what they do with the content team there.
And News Corp's launched a new business section in its newspapers as well, Business Daily. Who are the star writers? Any new ones?
Yeah, well, Terry McCrann and Scott Pape, who both write for the network newspapers out of Melbourne. Nick Tabakoff's rejoined the Telegraph recently, so he's put up and he's featuring in some of their marketing. Business Daily, people might remember this. It was used to be an independent business newspaper. Michael Gill ran a long time ago, so it's good to see the name back in use.
All right, we better get straight into ratings now for free to air. Kicking it off with week 33 here. And The Voice, same sort of suspects in this. The Voice, we've got 9 News and 7 News making the top 5. No surprises there. Switching the page though. And there we have it, The Bachelor making it in number 10, James.
Yeah, doing very well for 10, getting in the top 10. And that ABC Grand Designs, you know, Sunday night program, it's doing good business for them too.
Okay, moving on to subscription television ratings for week 33. Kicking it off with top sport, AFL, the Bledisloe Cup, of course, the Game 2 there, and NRL making it in there as well. Yeah,
and look, it shows you why Fox Sports would really like to do a deal with the NRL. But gee, they've lost some of those key slots. That Monday night slot's gone, and that Saturday night slot, the exclusivity's gone. But they'll be able to simulcast all those.
All right, top 5 non-sport now. There you have it, a bit of a mixed picture there with The Simpsons.
Yeah, animation, movies, yeah, a bit of everything this week.
All right, let's talk Foxtel, because they've confirmed the launch date. Of course, Place to Call Home, which used to be on free to air, it's moved to Foxtel, and they've confirmed when it's starting. Yeah,
look, the end of September they're going to be showing that. And they're going to show an alternate ending that Seven never used at the end of the last season they had. So that'll generate some real interest before they start their exclusive third season.
They have quite a following, A Place to Call Home.
It did, yeah. Look, it was doing close to 1 million viewers, but I think Seven thought, look, it was the wrong demo. It was trending quite old for them. The races to get maybe people 25, 54, and they just thought it was maybe costing them too much for that. But I think it'll do good business for Foxtel, and I think it's a good pickup for them.
It's also ordered a 4th season of Wentworth, but I want to talk about Seven, because for the past 2 weeks, the number 1 entertainment show on Seven, what's it been?
It's been, animal videos. We had cats, and then we had dogs. Cats did just under 1 million.
What does this say about
dogs? Just did over 1 million. Well, it shows that TV's found a little genre, if you like, a little topic that they can get back into again. I mean, Seven have had a lot of animal stuff in the past. They've done vets, sort of ob doc about vets. So they've done sort of programs about dogs, but not like this sort of dog video highlights. And they've got another one next week, so we'll see how that one goes too. But you'd think they'd be looking at making some of their own compiles if the audience is responding so well.
There you go, James. Wow, good way to end the show. We'll leave it there. James Manning, editor and publisher of Mediaweek, as always, our co-host. And that is all we have time for on this edition. We have more news and analysis coming up next. Stay with us.